with a loss here.
Well, you think the SEC is going to get 4 teams in?
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PAID for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PAID. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PAID for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PAID.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join us all season long as we get you ready for primetime NFL action every Monday night. Along with Kevin Harlan, Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, and the entire Westwood One team will take you inside the locker rooms and the stadiums for exclusive previews and all the play-by-play action. Every week on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Orders and all.
We've made the main room here at Carrabba's Italian Grill. He's Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton here with you. We've got you for an hour this evening. In fact, if you would like to come to Carrabba's, this is why I wanted you to get your headset on. So, anyway, anything? Nothing? Try that one over there then. Now that's one of the new headsets too. Anyway, we're on this on the fly. If you'd like to come to Carrabba's and enjoy, by the way, my new favorite right now for Carrabba's, ask for Scott, the filet and shrimp Toscana.
Yes, sir.
That is,
yes, sir.
That
I
is
love everything
fantastic. So you got me now?
Come on down
Wes?
to Carrabba's and
Yes,
watch
I'm-
us adjust our headsets in live in person.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm good.
No,
I thought you were talking to him.
No, filet and
you had me
shrimp
at filet.
Toscana. Yes. And by the way,
Because I haven't had that, but I ordered the pork chops. I've been wanting the pork chops.
Another solid choice.
Yes.
is that
No
the
doubt.
22-ounce bone in?
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
That's an all-day sucker right there, man.
There you go.
That's dinner
Well,
and dessert.
Lasagna is always good. The vegetable ravioli. I mean, you know all about the pastas, I would imagine. But so the privacy room is getting done up. In fact, there's another group there tonight. But if you need to plan your Christmas parties or wherever, whatever kind of parties you need this holiday season, contact Josh here at Carrabba's. Right next to the mall upstairs. I mean, we're at it's separated out from the mall, but you've got a big mall parking lot too as well.
If you
So
know where the
convenient.
food court is at the mall, just go right
Yeah.
there. And then go out the door, take a right, and go to Carrabba's because you're going to love it.
There's no question.
So we are here at Carrabba's here for the next hour, walking you up to Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer show. I had a chance to talk to Coach. But so I was talking yesterday with you, Wes, about LSU not completely out of the table.
Right.
And so Peter Burns actually put out the scenario. Here is the scenario, as wild as it sounds, for LSU to be in the SEC championship game. And Peter Burns is going to join us in 10 minutes' time just to talk some SEC football. But he tweeted this out earlier today. If every SEC favorite team wins the next 3 weeks, plus Arkansas beats Missouri, that's it. That's the scenario. If Texas beats Arkansas, LSU obviously has to win out. LSU has to beat Florida, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma. That's LSU's schedule. But the rest of this scenario, Georgia has to beat Tennessee. South Carolina has to beat Missouri. Texas has to beat Arkansas. That's this week. Next week, A&M has to beat Auburn. Ole Miss has to beat Florida. Missouri has to beat Mississippi State. Alabama has to beat Oklahoma. Texas has to beat Kentucky. And the final weekend, Ole Miss has to win the Egg Bowl. Bama has to win the Iron Bowl. Arkansas has to beat Missouri. Texas over Texas A&M. And Tennessee over Vanderbilt. That equals LSU in the SEC championship game against the winner of
How does that
Texas
happen?
and Texas A&M. That's another reason why.
If you got Alabama, how did they get by? Alabama just beat by 30. How did they get in?
Because it's multiple teams stacked up. You know what? Rather than me explain the tie-breaking rules, I eventually get to it with Lane Kiffin had a chance to talk to the Easter Bunny earlier today on the SEC teleconference, and he rambled a bit when I brought up tampering with players, because it's always tampering season in college football.
So you mentioned it there at the very beginning about just diving into Florida, given it being a bye week. Is that a change in philosophy? And if so, what led to that change for you, Coach?
I just think that wanting to make sure guys are really focused. And like I said, we've been in the playoffs for 3 weeks, so it's kind of for us another must-win playoff game. And just want to go play really, really well against these guys. And they got really good players. And at times this year they played well. So I'm in a place that most of the time people have struggled to play in. So just really wanted to utilize the time to get guys really focused on this matchup and go all in to make sure that we win.
And given the high level of athletes that you do have on your team, Coach, we live in this world where tampering happens. But I wonder from your standpoint of talking to players about that and just how big of an issue you think that is right now around the sport right now, Coach.
I don't really worry about what we can't control. I mean, that happens a lot. So just try to keep our guys focused. Again, it's a really poorly thought out system of the windows when they are, and then that people tamper all the time. It's just, so we just try to maximize the really poor system that's been set up and try to avoid the distractions.
Next, Jared Redding of 24/7 Sports.
And to finish that part of the problem of the really poor system is creating these free agency windows, and then they happen before a season's not even over. So you're just basically inviting kids to wonder mentally and to get tampered with, because when the windows are, and why people are still playing. Can you imagine the NBA or the NFL free agency were to start in the playoffs? I mean, it would never happen. I don't know that it's very talked about, but just think about that for a little bit.
I was wondering if you do you know about the SEC tie-breaking rules? And if you could help me figure it out, Coach.
And you guys got more time than me to do that stuff. I don't. I mean, I know it somewhat, but it seems extremely complicated. And again, I don't know. It was discussed yesterday, and these common records and of common opponents and all this, and seems really complicated who could end up going and all those things. And I would think it would have been a lot easier to just say, okay, what are the top 2 teams in the college football rankings?
That makes too much sense to me, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure out how LSU could go instead of Alabama if they both have 2 losses. That doesn't make any sense.
See, Lane knew more than he was leading on at the beginning of that answer.
Oh, about the tampering?
Yeah. Well, no. About the tie-breaking rule. He immediately said, you guys got more time to deal with that than I do. And then all of a sudden he breaks it down. I mean, there is the first thing you need to look at if it's 2 or more, if it's 3 or more teams, the first thing you need to do is take a look at the common opponent. And if that common opponent is, say, maybe Georgia or a high-level type of an opponent, then you would look at that. But then if that does not shake out, then you would look, oh, gosh. We're going to get into this with Peter Burns. Record versus all common conference opponents among the tied teams. And then after that, it's record against highest, best placed common conference opponent in the conference standings. Anyway, I think what Lane said there at the very end, I kind of agree with, unless you saw the top 25 that was released last night with the college football playoff. And then all of a sudden, up is down. If you did not see the top 25 from last night. Here's how it came down. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5, BYU 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, Miami 9, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia 12. Boise State is at 13. Other SEC teams, Texas A&M at 15, and South Carolina at 21, LSU at 22. Yes, I said South Carolina ahead of LSU despite the fact of the head-to-head. Missouri at 23. And I think what is at least rubbing me the wrong way is strength of schedule. There does not seem to be a whole, especially Penn State, Indiana, BYU. That's 4, 5, 6 right there. Penn State, Indiana, BYU.
Yeah, but okay, so I have no problem with Indiana being up there. Zero. They've beaten everybody, and they're playing a major conference.
So strength of schedule doesn't matter.
It does matter, but being undefeated does as well. And you beat Michigan last week. I mean, Michigan's not a bad football team. They're not a great football team like they were last year, but they're not a bad football team. I mean, so I don't have any problem with Indiana being undefeated in that conference and be 10-0. I have no problem whatsoever with that. I mean, who should be there instead?
So that is one of the three. You don't have a problem with Indiana. What about Penn State or BYU's another undefeated team?
Right.
Is that why the same argument for BYU?
What's their yeah, I don't maybe they're too high right now. I'm not sure.
Penn State's 8-1.
And lost a close game to Ohio State.
At home.
Who's the number 2 team. So what's their strength of schedule? Pull up their strength of schedule. We can have
Penn
You're
State
talking about strength of schedule.
Penn State is 33rd in the country.
Absolutely.
And BYU, where is BYU?
33rd is not bad. If you're in the top 50,
BYU is 34th.
See, that's not
and
bad.
Indiana is 76th.
Indiana but they're undefeated, right? The other two have 1 losses. So
BYU's undefeated,
but Indiana's about to play
Ohio State. Yeah, this is all going to shake out.
Yeah,
we're going to shake out a break right here and talk to Peter Burns to find out how LSU can make it to Atlanta. Peter Burns joins us next.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com. Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific need. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army. Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
I spent last night in the arms of a girl in Louisiana. No, I'm out on the highway, my thoughts are still with her.
I don't have time to get to the chorus. I guess, was there anybody there to sing it in Baton Rouge?
They sing that at the beginning of the game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Also, someone who knows this song quite well is joining us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can hear him weekday mornings as he has to put up with Chris Doring every weekday morning on SEC Morning, as Peter Burns, kind enough to join us. How are you, Peter Burns?
Well, I was doing fine. So you guys just ripped my heart out with calling Baton Rouge. It's making me think about the memories of Jalen Milroe rushing for 7,000 yards and about 15 touchdowns in that game, guys. Geez, what a harsh opening.
Well, it was trying to be a welcome in more than anything. I was trying to be inviting here inside the state of Alabama.
So Doring kind of got on you about not about something about the coffee, and I mean he's been on you lately. What's up with that?
Well, he's bitter because LSU's beat the hell out of LSU or beat the hell out of Florida in the last like 5 or 6 times we've had our bet. So I think he was kind of salty because of the season that Florida was having. But man, it's what a weird season, right? I mean, I can't remember the last time we had a year like this. I mean, I think I got to go all the way back to 2007, where there was this kind of chaos every single week, especially at the end of the season. And that's kind of where we're at right now with the amount of chaos we're about to have.
The chaos has been very real. But your tweet earlier today on the wild scenario that sends LSU to the championship game, I mean, it's not very far-fetched at all, Peter, for LSU still have a chance.
Which is wild to think about, right? I mean, we brought it up in our show this morning about teams that we think, what does the SEC title game look like? And we talked about all the different, all the different scenarios in which there could potentially be 6 to 7 teams that are all at 6-2 in conference play, which is just wild to think about. And then I started breaking it down, and there's a website that you can look at, and it shows all the different tiebreakers. And, we started saying, all right, what do we think happens? So let's say just Vegas is right. So all of the favorites win. For instance, let's say LSU wins over Florida, and Georgia, who's a favorite over Tennessee, wins, and Texas beats Kentucky next week, all of those type things, right? And so, like, no craziness. If no craziness happens, and it's just all the favorites, and Arkansas, who's going to be playing in Fayetteville, beats Missouri, LSU, believe it or not, would be in the SEC championship game. That's wild to me. That goes to show you how crazy this year is.
So how do they get around the fact that they lost so bad to Alabama?
But now the college football playoff committee would look at it and go, listen, our eye test saw what happened. Milroe and everybody just absolutely crashed the party. They embarrassed LSU, right? But the SEC championship and the way that the SEC guidelines work as far as the tiebreakers, you would have so many teams, guys, that are tied at 6-2 that you'd have to go basically to about the fourth different tiebreaker, which is like opponent strength of schedule or something like that. Like it's like one above rock, paper, scissors, basically. And sure enough, that would have LSU plus the winner of A&M and Texas, or whoever would win the A&M Texas game would face LSU. So again, it is just it's interesting.
So LSU has a harder strength of schedule than Alabama does?
No. So the tiebreaker that Peter is referencing is the cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents among the tied teams. But he's speaking better English than that, the way it's written right there.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I trust me, my head hurt. I mean, I had a migraine just looking at this going, I don't even know what any of this means. Like if it even makes sense. But these are the tiebreakers. And again, if you told me right now who's the most dangerous team in the SEC, I'm probably going to say Bama 1 and Ole Miss 2. I mean, I think those are the two teams that when you face them, that you're like, if we face their A game, we're completely screwed. Everybody else, I think, has flaws, including Ole Miss and Alabama.
Oh, yes, no question. I'm just trying to figure out how LSU has a harder schedule. It doesn't make sense.
I'm telling you, don't try. I mean, you have a better chance of solving that formula than LSU's run defense stopping Jalen Milroe on Saturday night. No chance.
Oh, goodness gracious. Peter Burns joining us here on the drive as we're live here from Carrabba's Italian Grill. And just moving forward, though, how dangerous is Texas, you think? How real is Texas?
That's a great question because they have not faced the hardest schedule. I think their strength of schedule is around 55 right now. And then, really the only big-time team that they faced is Georgia, and Georgia went out there and just absolutely spanked them on the bottom. I mean, they took a belt to their bottom, and they're still hurting from that. So I think that's the question right now, and that's why all eyes are going to be on that Texas versus Texas A&M team. Guys, the defense is good. They have a ton of playmakers. They've got two great options at quarterback. They have a great play caller in Stark, but what they haven't faced is, they faced one team, Georgia, and they got absolutely smacked upside down. Outside of that, they've had a pretty easy go right now. So that's why that game against A&M and Kyle Field, a matchup that we haven't seen in almost 2 decades. I mean, that's going to be like $1,500 to get into that game. I mean, that's as wild of a ticket price that I've seen in a long, long time is for the return for Texas ahead to Kyle Field, which not only could it be an SEC championship berth on line, but more than likely it's a college football playoff elimination game in that one as well.
I heard Coach Elko earlier today on the teleconference mention that they're actually moving up Senior Day to this weekend because of all of the attention for the Texas A&M Texas game.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is. I mean, it's everything what Texas Alabama was a couple years ago, and even Georgia Alabama. Like it's just one of these ones that you circle, and there's so much on the line. And listen, I lived in Texas for 20 years, and there was always this kind of little brother, big brother thing between Texas and A&M. Texas always felt like it was big brother. Well, when A&M came to the SEC, they kind of looked at them like, well, you go play in the Big 12. We're the real conference. We're the real team. We're in the right conference now. And sure enough, Texas joins them. So, I mean, it's bragging rights. It's playoff on the line, an SEC championship game. And it's funny. I talked to some people that are close to the Alabama football team. Now, these are not decision makers or anything like that, but just I asked Alabama fans, how do you feel? And they almost said to a T, we don't necessarily think that we need to be in the SEC championship game or want to be in the SEC championship game because, if you lose that game, you might have 3 losses and you might knock yourself out of the college football playoff, just like what happened to Georgia last year.
I'm serious. It does feel like this is a really hard trigonometry class, or I'm with you, Peter. This is starting to. I was told that there would not be math involved in this, other than 7 + 3 = 10. I mean, we're used to that, but this whole analytics part of this deal with the tiebreaker, we did see a little bit of this last year with the Big 12. We did not really know the Big 12 championship until the weekend before. It feels as convoluted as the Big 12's tie-breaking formula.
Yeah, and again, it could come down to if all of a sudden there's a bunch of ties on all of this, which I don't think goes all the way down. But if God knows, whatever reason, if chaos ensues and there's some more ties, it goes all the way to a blind draw. Now, again, there's no way it's going to be to a blind draw, but can you imagine us airing it on the SEC network, me pulling like 2 teams out of a hat to figure out who plays in Atlanta? Would be wild.
I think that's so stupid. I just think that if all the teams are tied, you should take the highest ranked team.
You would think, but again, it also is like, all right, well, which teams have won, and then they've developed all these tiebreakers at that point. Again, like there's no reason why Alabama should not go ahead of LSU. I mean, Alabama just absolutely waxed them, but because they don't play the same opponents and more than multiple teams are going to be tied with 2 losses, you have to go to different tiebreakers. It's part of the new world that we live in, and God bless us because it gives us great content as radio shows.
Well, it does give us plenty of content. There's no doubt about that, Peter. You mentioned dangerous teams. How high up on that list is South Carolina as a dangerous team?
I mean, that's another team. I mean, listen, they got hosed against LSU, and they should have won that game. They had Alabama dead to rights to that game if Lenore Sellers could hit a 2-point conversion, or they get, after they got the onside kick. So, again, this is a team that is as dangerous as anybody right now. They got Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart are kind of like a poor man's version of Will Anderson and Dallas Turner from a couple of years ago. So they've got some great squads. And Lenore Sellers getting better. I mean, that's the thing. Right now, I think I could put South Carolina in the ACC, and I think South Carolina could potentially win the ACC championship. No lie. That's how good they are, and they're probably the 7th or 8th best team here in this conference.
It's crazy. I mean, just in terms of the big matchups this weekend, I did talk to both coaches today, but Tennessee and Georgia. I mean, Nico or no Nico, is that a big deal, you think, entering into Saturday?
Oh, it's a huge deal. I mean, and again, the concussion protocol that they put him in, there's the protocol. So you don't know. And I mean, anybody that tells you they know if Nico's going to play, Nico doesn't know if he's going to play right now, and Tennessee doesn't know he's going to play. They go through the proper protocol. If he does not go, I believe that completely makes Tennessee a lot more one-dimensional, and that's one of the reasons why Georgia has the upper hand in there. But then again, you got to keep in mind too, Tennessee is not all Nico Iamaleava. In fact, that's their third kind of profile signature. Number 1, they're a defensive-minded team. Number 2, they run the ball with Dylan Sampson. And number 3, Nico has some success. But, this is not like losing Jalen Milroe or losing Dylan Gabriel with Oregon. Nico's still finding his way as a college quarterback.
Is Tennessee's defense better than Georgia's defense?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they are a little bit more ferocious. Now, the problem is that Georgia's offense doesn't have any playmakers, guys. There's no Ladd McConkey. There's no Brock Bowers. Nobody's really afraid of him. Etienne's banged up, and this offensive line hasn't been 100%. And Carson Beck has been seeing ghosts the last couple of weeks. I mean, 12 interceptions in the last 6 games? I mean, that's unheard of. So, again, this is if you would have told me that Georgia would potentially miss the first 12-team playoff I would have lost a large sum of money, to say the least.
I mean, there are so many matchups per weekend this year in the SEC that I literally have no idea. I usually kind of have a feel one way or another.
But do you like it? Do you like it?
It's a little maddening. I mean, it's a little maddening because I like having like a feel. I had a feel, but
we
really
like it as media members because we can talk about it. But now we look at it too, guys. It's like, hey, guess what? You need to tune in because every single weekend it can change. And what happens with like LSU? Like, do they quit? You know, are there some transfer portal guys that be like, nah, screw this. Now that we're out of it, we don't play. Like this is the new version, and this is the college football looks more and more like NFL football on Sunday, where it's any given Sunday. Now it's any given Saturday.
And then the reason I wanted to go Texas earlier is I'm remembering the 2021 game where I know they're completely different. Both teams are completely different, but of just that rivalry between Texas and Arkansas, and the Hogs have looked really good this year. But they find ways to lose. I think of Oklahoma State immediately, Peter.
Sure.
And just other games as well where they just find ways to lose, especially at home.
And again, remember a couple years ago when Texas and Arkansas played and Arkansas ran for 400 yards on them. Stark told me a couple, in the spring when I did the spring game going, that was my welcome to the SEC moment. That I realized that we needed to beef up both lines of scrimmages or else we're going to get killed when we come to the SEC. And that, honestly, was the best thing that happened to Sark because they realized they couldn't just roll out a Big 12 team in front of SEC opponents. So, that game, Sam Pippen said, this week that he's been telling all this, showing all his guys the old game film back in the day of, and I don't know how much a 20-year-old cares about the 1969 game between those two, but they're making it into a big deal.
I mean, there's no doubt the biggest surprise of the SEC is Vanderbilt for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Biggest disappointment is who? Who's the biggest disappointment?
Well, that's
Auburn.
a great question. I think Auburn, with that first 5 games at home, you kind of thought, all right, this team should be 5-0 and potentially play for a college football playoff. And I was down there for the Auburn Vanderbilt game, guys, and it was an anemic offense, and that's being kind to the offense. Like Peyton Thorne has probably been, the biggest disappointment as far as what they thought he could potentially be with all those great wide receivers. So there's going to be a lot of soul searching in Auburn right now. So it's and by the way, Diego Pavia might get more years of eligibility. If that's the case, he might have one more opportunity to beat Hugh Freeze. That would be 4 years in a row. Unbelievable.
I think they denied him today.
Hey,
they denied the expedited meeting, but it isn't 100% denied. It just means that they weren't going to grant a restraining order immediately. But that does not mean that the whole motion has been denied. It just means that they wanted basically an answer right here, right now, and they didn't get that today.
And so let's move over to the important part of this conversation. Tell me about the bet here between Florida and LSU. What is the bet this year?
I can't tell you. It's going to be a good one. We're releasing it on Friday. I will tell you that it involves it involves a very special package being delivered from both Florida and LSU that we will have overnighted tomorrow. So we'll leave it at that, and you'll have to tune in on Friday for the bet, and then Monday for the payoff.
How about the matchup itself, though? I mean, does this game completely get changed if DJ is playing at quarterback? Because
the problem is because LSU guys, y'all could be a running quarterback against LSU, and they may not be able to stop them right now. That's how poor that run defense is. But the question is what are you going to get from Lagway? He looked good in warm-ups last year, but a hamstring is not something – I don't have any leg muscles, but I've heard a hamstring will really hurt, if you just go after it. So there's no telling if he'll be 100% in that game. So
it's hard for a quarterback or a running back or a receiver to play with a bad hamstring, especially if you're a mobile quarterback.
Well, and that's the deal. And again, trust me, if there is one thing that LSU has worked on in the last 5 days since Alabama beat them, was like, I don't care who beats us, they will not beat us with a running quarterback. So we'll see how that ends up playing out.
You know, Peter, what a lot of people are missing on that deal, if your nose guard gets knocked back 5 yards, right, it doesn't matter what defense you're in.
No, I mean, that's true, but they don't make any adjustments. And again, that's the big question mark right now. And you have to make sure Garrett Nussmeier doesn't turn the ball over. And actually, Florida did not quit. That's what's impressive about it. They're not a talented team right now, but they've not quit. And you kind of thought that might be the case after some of the bad losses, even against Florida or Texas. Whenever Texas was whooping them, they still went after it and tried to score late, and they were playing hard. They just got a lot of young guys, and they might be catching LSU at just the right moment.
So a secret package. This is like mystery box number 1 and mystery box number 2 on the way.
You're not getting the answer from me. You're not getting the answer. I'm sworn to an oath right now that you'll have to check in on Friday morning show. We'll announce it, and then on Monday, one of us will be looking like an idiot, and actually, we both normally look like idiots, so it doesn't matter. So,
I was just like helping the tease, but I realized you're the king of that, so that's my apologies.
You know the worst thing you can do to your partner is make him gain 5 pounds.
I'm just jealous. I'm getting ready to go on a date right now, and I was just looking for Robin. I mean, now you guys got me fired up for this. So.
Come on up. We'll take care of you. Come on up. Peter, you're the best.
Thank you.
All right, man. Y'all talk to you soon. Yeah.
That's Peter Burns.
I still want to see the thing that says LSU can make the playoffs. I just it doesn't. I mean, and make the SEC championship. It doesn't make sense.
There you go. That's the scenario right there. All the favorites win in the SEC, plus Arkansas beats Missouri. That's the path. All of the favorites, the Vegas favorites, win out in SEC play, plus Arkansas beating Missouri. And it's a home game for Arkansas, too.
Still doesn't make any sense. How you can that means that they're saying LSU schedule's harder, SEC schedule's harder.
No. What they're saying is there's going to be a giant logjam of 2 lost teams, and you throw that into the tie-breaking formula, and out spits LSU.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
All right, I don't. Yeah. I agree. I mean, the one constant of this year is that chalk has not happened. And it's hard to think that chalk will happen here on out for the rest of November. So that's a little bit of Peter Burns right there. Told you I had a chance to talk to both Georgia and Tennessee's head football coaches. 61 seconds of Kirby Smart.
Dylan Sampson, in particular, the amount he's carried here over the last month and a half. What impresses you about the Tennessee tailback, Coach?
Durability, his vision, his toughness. He's really patient runner. He understands their run scheme, and he knows exactly what he's looking for in terms of cuts, patience, very hard to tackle, elusive, and has great, he has track speed. So just been very impressed with him. He's a really good football player.
On the subject of tackling, how would you say your defense has tackled here in the last handful of games, Coach?
Good and bad. We've lost our edges there against Florida for some time. And, I thought we tackled the Ole Miss backs well, but we didn't necessarily tackle well out in the open field space, space throws, where guys caught the ball and ran with it afterwards. We want to have no yards after the catch. And we had some of that we don't want.
All right, that is the Georgia head football coach, and I was third in line with Josh Heupel today, but I was the first to ask.
I will ask the obligatory Nico question.
Which one's this about?
How much involvement has he had in practice this week, and how does he look in practice to you, Coach?
Yeah, Nico's been good here in the early part of the week, and at this point in the week, I'll refer everybody to the availability report that comes out later tonight, and everybody can wait with anticipation for that.
Fair enough, Coach. I did. We talked earlier in the year about your depth defensively, and through 9 games, how much has that depth led to this defense kind of sustaining a high level of efficiency, Coach?
I think it's been a big part of sustaining and playing well at the end of football games in the fourth quarter, and it's part of the success of our defense throughout the course of the year. I think one of the things that separates this league from others that I've been in is just, what you're facing every Saturday and the true physical nature of the game, and, what the collisions are like and what it takes, week in and week out. And, the depth of your roster and how many guys you're able to play is a huge part of, staying fresher, staying healthier, and being better in the long term.
About Georgia, you've already mentioned how well they're playing, but clearly depth, we've heard from Kirby about depth being an issue. Is it something that you can see on film? Do you notice a lack of depth defensively for Georgia this year?
I think a couple of years ago they were really rare and unique, and and I say that just meaning how much they were splitting their reps, really, on their entire defense. And it's tilted a little bit more where, a guy at a position is playing a little bit more than maybe, what they were doing a couple of years ago. But like you put on the tape of Georgia defensively, and their front looks like a Georgia front always looks like. They move like they always move. Their linebackers are athletic, big, physical, and they got elite athletes on the back end. What you see on the video is a typical Georgia defense.
That was a long, drawn-out way of saying yes. Yes, there is a lack of depth.
Yes. Well, I think it's everywhere now, just because of the NIL, like they talk about. I mean, it is what it is. I don't. It's the good thing about NIL. If your team's not very good, they can get better in a hurry. It's not going to take 3 or 4 years.
Vanderbilt.
Yes. So to me, if your team's not very good this year, i.e. Florida State, they ought to give the guy one more year, right? He
see what you got.
Yeah, he can build a whole another different team.
It's another non-conference game for the Auburn Tigers, but I did ask Hugh Freeze a very specific question, and it has to do with what he mentioned Monday on the press conference. That was offensive play calling, that evidently 3rd and long is a different play caller for 3rd and long as opposed to every other down.
Coach, if I heard you right on your Monday press conference, you mentioned about Ken Austin being in control of the 3rd and long plays for your play calling. I'm wondering how long you've done that in terms of just spreading out the play calling, and how effective has that been for you this year, Coach?
We have not been as effective on 3rd down as I would like, but it's something I have done since Liberty days. Actually, back to Ole Miss days, Dan Werner would handle many of that because it just takes that off of somebody else's plate. And now it's presented to the whole staff, and obviously we all agree upon it prior to the game plan. But then that person does, if I'm not going tempo or we're not going to go for it on 4th down, we'll turn it over to them who studied it the most for those calls. Wish we had been more effective this year. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's not all just the scheme or the play call, but some of it has to do with, the execution, the protection, and sometimes defenses get the best of you, but definitely we hadn't been as effective as we would like to be, and something we're going to have to prove on headed into these last few games and into spring practice.
That is Hugh Freeze. Speaking of someone that is in need of turning it around in a big way next year in particular, if he'd like to stay down on the Plains.
No question.
I certainly had higher expectations. I realized not everybody had higher expectations for the Auburn Tigers, but they have not been met.
In case you're wondering, it's 15 minutes out from.
I was wondering about that. That's actually telling me that I probably need to take a time out here.
Yes.
Because, hey, Coach, and the Kalen DeBoer Show coming up at the top of the hour live here from Carrabba's Italian Grill. Let's go ahead, and you'll hear from Kalen DeBoer. I spoke with the Bama head coach earlier today on the SEC teleconference. I'll have that for you next, right here on The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you're in the market for a new ride, now is the time to make your move. We've got over 700 new Fords to choose from, and with over 2,700 Google reviews, our customers have spoken, giving us a pretty impressive 4.4 out of 5 stars. Believe me, we work hard every day to earn those 5 stars. Just tell us what you need. This month only, we're offering big savings on your favorite Ford models. You can save up to $10,000 off MSRP on a 2024 F-150 Super Crew pickup. Or take $9,500 off MSRP on a 2024 Edge all-wheel drive. And if you're looking for something even bigger, take a spin in our 2024 family-size Expedition available for $11,000 off MSRP. Deals end November 30th. And with always, it's with your good credit. Stop by Woody Anderson Ford today or visit us online at woodyandersonford.com. With deals this good, you don't want to wait. I'm Bobby White, and we hope to see you soon.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Wednesday night, isolated showers and a few thunderstorms will remain in the forecast. We'll see low temperatures fall into the mid-50s. Breezy conditions remain as well. Heading into our Thursday, isolated showers, potentially a few thunderstorms stick around in the forecast, mainly in the morning. High temperatures topping out in the mid-60s. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
Here at Carrabba's Italian Grill. Smells fantastic back here by the kitchen. We made the main room as we were in the back corner, the private area where you can bring in your holiday party here at Carrabba's. But good to be in the main room next to the kitchen as well. We're walking you up to Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. I had a chance to talk to the Alabama head coach earlier today.
Given your background, how important are games like this to play a SoCon, given your NIA background, Coach?
Yeah, I think you're talking. Are you talking like in reference to the playoffs?
Well, no, just in reference for the health of the sport overall.
Oh, I see. I got you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, having been part of lower budget programs, not just as a head coach, but as an assistant at multiple places, FCS and Group of 5 schools. The money games, I guess. Those are ones that are important to the budget, not just the football program, but the whole athletic department. And those are cool opportunities. Been a couple times where you go into that game and you got really nothing to lose, and so you just go and cut it loose and enjoy that experience with the guys. And, a lot of times you end up, finding a lot about yourself, so, it's good. It's good for those schools, I think, for multiple reasons. And, for us, we got to, at this time of the year, especially, and coming off of kind of where we're at in the season, for us, it's taking those next steps and really making sure, we don't get sloppy. That's the tricky piece, right? Is just staying the course and improving on the things that we've been doing well. I just mentioned to the guys as we were walking off the field, the last 8 quarters, we've had 6 takeaways and 0 turnovers, and there's other things that I point to as far as just how we have started, finished the middle part of games, the things that we talk about in the off season, really all season. We've really honed in on it. We got to continue to do that.
And Coach, I did want to ask about your Friday programs where the special guests come in. Just tell me about the origin of that and how much does that, and just tell me about the reactions you get there on Fridays, Coach.
Yeah. We really started doing it back at Washington, more of like a regular scheduled kind of every Friday type of format. And we called it Husky Heroes there. And now it's Tide Teammates. And so it just became a thing where, you saw the joy you were bringing to people. And, there's some good energy that our players even have and some excitement as we kind of wrap up that Friday practice and walk through. And so, just it makes you feel good when you're doing things for other people, people who just, love the game, look up to these players as idols, are fighting their own battles in many different ways. And hopefully it gives some perspective to our guys that, the battle we're going to be fighting on the field is really nothing compared to the battle some people are fighting for, especially when it comes to their lives or the things that they've been up against throughout their time. So it's been really cool. The guys have really taken into it and enjoyed it, I think.
So that is Kalen DeBoer. And I read a little bit about this earlier in the year, and I thought it was the perfect time to ask it being Mercer Week. And the special needs kids coming in on Friday and, congregating with the team and just having that different type of just important part of your program.
Man, no question. That is is the lifestyle, but to do it for somebody that having to fight extra hard really is special. And when you watch those things and how they react, it just makes your heart soar. It's awesome.
As soon as I found out about it, I was like, well, why isn't this being put on a spotlight more? Because I want more of those types of stories out there.
I think they're not doing it for the story. That's why.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it for that.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but
let's promote who's doing something the right way
for
all the right reasons.
Right. And I think that they are. I mean, the only thing about Caleb DeBoer with Alabama fans is some people think he's too nice, right? I mean, because they're used to Coach Saban, who is, he just had his way to doing it. But I think the players are coming. Like I had a coach when I was a freshman at Alabama, and I've talked about him a lot. But you didn't want to lose you didn't want to miss a block. You didn't want to do anything because you liked him so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was such a nice guy and so good, and you knew it was expected of you, and you went out there and fought for him because you didn't want to disappoint him.
That sounds like Henshaw to me.
No, it's not. It wasn't Henshaw. It was Tom Good.
Okay,
that I've talked about a bunch. He's my freshman coach.
Yeah,
and then all three coaches different. He had Coach Fuller, 3Fs to football, well documented. Now him and I ended up being close, but he was a guy. I mean, he was in your face coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'm the only person he ever kicked in the ass. I'm pretty sure I am.
I remember you asking, and I think he said as much.
Yeah, I was the only person that ever kicked in the ass, and Henshaw, he touched me once, and I deserved. I talked about that when I clipped a guy 15 yards downfield, which I'd never done before. After, really didn't mean to do it then, but that's how. But his point was for the rest of the team. I get it. That's how you get beat, right? That's how we've seen Alabama lose games this year. Stupid penalties. That would have been a stupid penalty.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to even be chasing the play in reality, because all you could do is get a stupid penalty. I mean, you see guys before just fake like they get hit, yell, and jump up. And the ref's not supposed to call if they don't see it, but they do a lot of things they're not supposed to do. Anyway, so I've had all kind of different coaches all the way up. And, but Coach Good, I think, was the most effective. And that's what I think Caleb DeBoer is. He's a brilliant guy. He understands football.
He does.
I was impressed with his halftime speech against LSU.
I did not see that.
It was on his show.
So it's out there?
Yes. And, there are people, I saw her guy call apologizing to Coach DeBoer, things he said on Feinbaum, which if they lose next week or the week after, he'll call back and say the same thing. So, Alabama has to keep getting better every week. That's
including
the key.
This week.
That's the key to everybody. Ole Miss, including this week.
Yeah.
Every week you got to. It's like Coach Saban said. You're fighting against yourself, not the other team.
Mm-hmm.
It's can you play at a high level every play, every down.
Nobody's fighting here at Carrabba's, but you might have to fight for our $50 of Carrabba's if you wait too long. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com.
Half price.
That's right. Pay $25, get $50.
And there's more than just Carrabba's, but I would suggest Carrabba's.
Check it out.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful